video, we will discuss the heat conductions with a viscous heat source. So, consider the flow of an incompressible Newtonian fluid between two coaxial cylinders. So you have in here basically two coaxial cylinders. Okay, you can think of this one as the outer cylinder, and the outer cylinder in here move with an angular velocity. Okay, this one is the outer cylinder, and then you have the inner cylinder as well, that is basically does not move. Okay, so it's basically stays still, and then there is a fluid in between these two cylinders, and the surfaces of the inner and the outer cylinder in here are maintained at a temperature of T0, and then the outer cylinder, the surfaces are maintained at the temperature of Tb, and T in here is a functions of R. So in here we show that R is at any particular radius, it has a function, it is R. Okay, as the outer cylinder rotates, so each cylindrical shell of fluid, so what you can think of is in terms of the cylindrical shell of fluids is basically at any particular radius you have the cylindrical fluid element. Okay, I'm sorry if my handwriting picture in here is not very clear, but I hope you know what I meant in here. Okay, and then as this cylindrical shell of fluid rubs against adjacent shell of fluid, then this friction produces heat. So basically the mechanical energy that involved in the movement is degraded into a thermal energy. Okay, the volume heat source resulting from this viscous dissipation is defined as V, and it basically appears automatically in the shell balance when we use the combined energy flux. Flux factor, which we call E, and this is covered in the previous lecture video. Okay, and then another thing that we can assume is that if the slit in here is the slit width in here is B, is much smaller with respect to the radius. So the radius is we take this radius in here as the R, so the radius of the outer cylinder. If it is much smaller, then the problem can be solved approximately using a simplified system as shown below. So in here we basically focus on this particular restricted area in here. Okay, the one that we put in dash lines in here. Okay, we look in here, we can somewhat ignore the curvature effect. So like I put in here, the curvature effect can be ignored, for example, then the problem can be solved in Cartesian coordinates. So within this particular dash line, we can basically assume that is equal to this particular rectangular plate systems. So the one on this left hand side in here basically showing the velocity profiles and the temperature profile of the fluid in between the moving plates. So this basically the top surface is moving with this velocity of Vb r multiplied by this omega, and then we have this top and the top plate. Okay, and then we have this bottom plate, and this we are taking a fluid shell element with the thickness of delta x in here. Okay, this has a thickness of delta x, and then we imagine that we have a heat that is transferred on the x directions. Okay, Then we can basically check the systems. So we take the systems is basically a shell of the thickness delta x, width w, and length L. Sorry, this one is mistaken. This is supposed to be L. Okay, so as in written in here, the length is L and then the width is W. Okay, or I can use erasers to basically erase this one, and then I put it as in this one is L. Okay, then we come with the simple terms of the in minus out in W multiplied by L multiplied by A x inspected at x, and then minus W L E x in here refers to the directions of your heat. Okay, the combined, basically the combined energy flux vector, and then this is inspected at x plus delta x. So one is inspected at the one that is in is inspected at this x. Okay, the one that is out is inspected at this x plus delta x. Then we can simply divide this with the volume of the fluid shell element WL delta x. Then we will get this quantity minus E x at x plus delta x minus E at x Ex at x divided by delta x. This one is equal 0. Just to be clear that this minus is actually outside of the brackets. Okay, then we can take limit as delta x approaching 0 to convert this differential, this difference, finite difference equations into calculus quantity. Okay, so this one should be equal to 0. Then we can integrate this. Dex is equal to 0. And so your Ex, when we integrate, this will be equal to C1. Okay, then we go back into the definitions of our energy flux vector. So our energy flux vector is defined as half rho v square plus rho enthalpy multiplied by the velocity, and then multiplied by the shear stress multiplied by the velocity plus the heat flux. Okay, this quantity is important, so we put this inside a red rectangular box just to indicate this quantity better. Okay, and then this Q in here is equal minus K dt per dx, because this Q in here is actually coming from your heat conduction, and it should have a formula of joule per second meter square, whereas your shear stress multiplied by your velocity should also have the same unit as well. Okay, and then this one, now we check the one on the left hand side, the unit for Q should be equal to joule second meter square, and then your K in here have a unit of joule second meter Kelvin, and then your dt per dx in here should have a unit of Kelvin per meter, so that this one can cancel with each other. Then you essentially have the same unit on the left hand side and the same unit on the right hand side. It's very important for you to make sure that this is the case for everything. Okay, and then this shear stress has a unit of kilogram divided by meter multiplied by second square, and whereas this V meter per second, so this will be equal to 1/2 meter square kilogram meter square divided by second square, and this one should be equal to joule. So in reality you have this unit in here will be equal with this unit in here. Okay, so that's very important for you to make sure that those things are basically equal to each other, so that we don't have the wrong unit. Now we have a look into each components of your combined energy flux factor. Okay, the first one will be your convective energy flux. Convective energy flux factor along x direction. As we can see in here on top, this is being represented by this particular term in here. Okay, so that one is this half rho v square plus rho multiplied by h, which represents your enthalpy, is 0 because your Vx is 0. Okay, on another word, you have no velocity in the x direction, which is now what you need to check into your system. You need to connect back into your system again. In here there is no velocity on these directions. Your velocity is only on the z directions. Okay, so it's very important that you check back into your system again and reconnect these things. Okay, and then the next one will be the molecular heat flux factor along x direction. Okay, so in this particular component, we are interested to find the Q component, or in here is the Q. Okay, so what do we check in here is now we have this component in here. Okay, and then the third one will be the molecular work flux factor along x direction. So this refers to the second component in there, and then can be split again into their respective component. Okay, so this one is tau xx Vx plus tau xy Vy plus tau xz Vz, and this one is 0 because we don't have a velocity in the x directions, and then this one is also 0 because we don't have a velocity in the y directions. And then you go back again and check your term in here. You see that you are dealing with the second term in here, so we have covered pretty much everything. And then we go back again here, and so in the first one becomes 0, the second one becomes 0, so you only have the third component in here, or basically this tau xz multiplied by the Vz, or this one will be equal to minus mu dvz per dx multiplied by your Vz. Okay, then you go back into your last integrated quantity, Ex is equal C1. Now you have this, then you have a Q that exists in your E, dt per dx minus mu Vz dvz per dx is equal c1. Okay, and then we can substitute the linear velocity profile. Vz is equal Vbx over b. This one again, it comes back from your assumed velocity in your proposed explanations in the beginning. So when you postulate this thing, then you want to have a look into your original velocity profiles in here. As you can see in here, this velocity is basically varied from the bottom plate to the top plate. So the one on top will be equal to this Vb, which Vb is equal r multiplied by omega, and then the one on the bottom will be equal to 0. So you have basically velocity profile that varies linearly with x. Okay, I'll stop this video here and I'll continue the derivations until the boundary condition in the next video. Thank you for listening.